Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland. Well, I was going through all my threads, and boy, are things heading towards the big splat. I've been talking about this for the last 10 years. And if you can't see it right in front of you. So, this big hurricane is heading right for Tampa. Man, get out of here. You're going to die. It's unbelievable how they show images of the interstates 95, 410 getting out of the neighborhood in Florida, and it's chock-a-block. There's no gas, or gas lines are forever. They didn't figure this one out. And what's really interesting, I like on 95. The one going north, it's bumper to bumper. It's like a parking lot. The one going south, there's nobody on it. So why don't they get everyone on both north and south lanes of the interstate to get out? And now they have the ability to do that. They have, all kinds of signage that states that they're going to do it. They didn't do it. Why? Good question. Why is there no gas? Good question. I've been in situations where something terrible was going to happen, and there was a good lead on this. This hurricane's taken about a week to get here, right? So why didn't they have extra tankers in the neighborhood to just keep constantly filling up the gas station? Good question, right? And now Russia has told all the Russian Jews who have dual citizenship, you guys better come back to Russia. You better leave Israel. Israel's just whacked a Hezbollah / Iranian general in Syria. And that guy was in a Russian airbase, and Israel bombed the Russian airbase, right? Hey, good morning, buddy. So everything's about to kick off in Israel, in the Mideast, right? Yesterday, the oil prices jacked up 5% in one shot. So Cliff High reckons they'll keep up the pressure until they play the alien invasion card. Yeah, I saw that same video. Their last card. Yeah, I've been talking about that for, since the movie Independence Day came out. Because they have that technology, And the hurricanes are seemingly, undeniably, being precipitated by other than natural sources, because there's about 6 hurricanes zipping around the Atlantic and the Caribbean. And this Marvin one is just the next one. It's going to obliterate Florida. I mean, it's just going to, it's going to become 2 islands, The, state of the Conch, Keys is going to be, it's going to be southern and northern Florida, and everybody in the middle, it's going to be a big causeway, intercoastal, good for development. And in Ukraine and Russia is like, I said this from the beginning. You're crazy. I said that these wars are being scripted, right? Because they are not being, what Israel has done with Gaza, it's not a strategic move, right? It's going to kill Israel, spiritually. This is a spiritual and energetic war of the planet, right? That's what it is. And the thing is, not to be scared about all this, We go into the supermarket, get a few more, you can buy big bags of rice and beans, Get some Coleman lanterns and some cans of gas and those little things you can cook under. Anyway, sterno, right? Now, don't huff it. Incredible hardware back in the 70s, but They kept it quiet for 50 years. Yeah, I think I told you that story. I used to have a girlfriend, Christine Barton, the smartest human in the world, and I went to a conference with her at it was a private entity, but it was in New England. And this guy was, and these are all the people who were graphic. This is when computer graphics was just coming up in the 80s. And he was giving his whole lecture about computer graphics, blah, blah, blah. But, the first 20 minutes, he was going on about, cartoons and, film, blah, blah, blah. And he's up there, and everyone's about to fall asleep. And he comes. Stage is like a lecture hall, so it's not like a stage like a theater. It's just a little rise, and he can just walk down. And he walks. And he's got his little lavalier mic, and he walks down through the aisle, the main aisle, and then around the back, and then around the front, and down the other one, and then down the main aisle, and comes back. And that takes about 5 minutes, and he basically walks by everybody, right? And even though his voice is being amplified, you can hear him come towards you and then go away. It gets louder and louder, and then it gets right? And you see, he's right there. I'm like sitting right there. I'm like 2 people away from seeing this guy, and he goes on, and he gets back on in front of the podium, and he goes, and now I will show you the future of computer graphics. And he snaps his finger, and the whole lectern area and the aisles are filled with him. About 300 versions of him, right? And they're all talking, saying different things. And it's just like a cacophony of what? And everyone's like, and then he snaps his fingers, and he's in the back, and he walks down the main aisle. He goes, what you just saw was holographic projection. And I did everything I could to show, that holographic projection up close to you. And you all thought that was me. And then I snapped my fingers, and it was like 300 of me all over the place, right? And that was like 1984, something like that. Jane, and I want to thank everyone's, concern for me, right? I've been busy. This place got totally whacked, and I just happened to find myself in the one place that didn't get whacked, that was set up as the central, help everyone station, our little, sharing care community center. And the people who were there, we're just getting around, to figure out what we're going to do with this thing. And bango, this happens. And so we were surrounded by places that got totally destroyed. Irwin, Tennessee, totally destroyed. Pogie Land, totally destroyed. And so I up close had the experience of watching what a phase change is, what they are doing to just totally change what everyone thinks is normal, right? And so there it is, right? And now Florida is going to get obliterated. And there's still another 5 or 6 of these hurricanes out there churning away. East Coast is going to get it big time. Texas is going to get it, and then it's going to go straight up to Chicago. It's going to do the same thing that Helen did to us, right? So the East Coast is going to get totally destroyed, I don't think Marvin, or whatever it is, could, because it looks like it's going to go out into the Atlantic, right? But it could jag into Georgia and just go up the coast and chew it up, right? Could. Who knows? Because like I said, these aren't natural events, right? So Jamie basically told you about Cliff Hyde. Really interesting guy. He's a demographer per se, but he's more esoteric, right? Because he's almost remote viewing, and he has a whole bunch of remote viewing friends. And these were folks that, in the 70s, I was part of these esoteric entities. And, I was a young man and I was learning, and I had been exposed to the esoteric and occult through the Catholic religion, through my Cardinal Cushing godfather. And those guys, just history, if you're not being informed by historical events of the past, you're cruising for a bruising. I mean, the Vatican threw the human race into the Dark Ages for 900 years. No one could read, right? The guys who were making the copies of the Bible couldn't read. They were like, trained monkeys. They had good handwriting. They just copied. So we are being hijacked, right? And all I can say is, we were thrown into the breach, right? And we responded amazingly well, right? And so now we're getting tons of resources to help everybody, right? And we're just doing common sense stuff. And so FEMA, we told FEMA to get lost because they said, oh, you're not authority, you can't stop doing what you're doing. We said, fuck you. And Red Cross came around and did the same thing. And, me and two other people were the chuckleheads to talk to them, right? Because we're funny, we're not aggressive, right? We're diplomats, right? There's this one guy who's like the Bob Hope of the event. Me, I don't know where to put me. I think Muggs McGinney, our gang, that's kind of me. And we have this woman that you wouldn't want to mess with. Well, we actually have about 10 women. The whole thing is being run by women. The guys are really useless. I mean, they can drive equipment around, they can move box, but they don't. We've gotten the teenagers have responded to that much better. And the best person that drives the heavy equipment is this kid who's, probably 14 years old because he's really conscious of what he's doing. The other guys are like half, I've been riding this thing for 90 years. I know what I'm doing. And they started burning. We have so much stuff. They were burning what they thought was crap. And I'm a guy who saves everything. And I said, why don't we just instead of doing this, there are 10 places I know that a lot of folk are living near. Why don't we just take this in boxes down to, where they need it? Just leave it. Don't have people handing it out. Just put it there, right? Anyway, and we're kind of doing that. But the burning stuff, too. And it's like, and when you see clothes being burned, you realize that virtually everything is synthetic because it's going up like gasoline, And people burned it, they put the stuff, and it was like right next to the woods. And I said, whoa, don't do that. Put it out. What are you talking about? That's not. And like I said, the guys who are doing the really stupid shit are these guys. I know what I'm doing. I'm a woodsman, So, but amazingly, everything is working out amazingly well. And all the powers that be are coming to us and patting us on the back. And we're telling them to get lost or, well, if you want to help, that's great. So the certain elements are, the military has shown up where we are. And they are facilitating us doing the work, So that's good, FEMA, not so much. And FEMA is like the mob, meaning when you dig into their they have to, they have a general that looks at what they do and gives a report. And very interestingly, the big FEMA report came out about 2 or 3 weeks before Helene. And it basically said that because of the COVID thing and the border thing and a few other, catastrophes, hurricanes, tornadoes, they have handed out close to $21 billion over the last 3 years. It hasn't been spent. And by law, if you don't spend this shit within 7 months, it's got to come back. And this stuff's been out there for the last 3 or 4 years, And so they should call that money back. But the bottom line is all of that money that's in like a slush fund doesn't really have, you don't have to show the receipts, you know what I mean? Man, so there's and the money, oh boy, we had this still deficit. Well, there are all kinds of black programs and military programs, and we basically spend $1 trillion with a T on our military budget. But our military budget isn't just the Defense Department, it's just the Pentagon. Our military budget is the energy department. They make all the nuclear weapons, and we're revamping our nuclear weapons, right? It's the State Department, right? And that's, and the CIA, NSA, and all of those other intelligence guys. That's like another $1 trillion in itself. And then we have DARPA, that no one even knows how much money is going into it and where it's going. And that's been for, at least 60 years. And so that's why we have a presence in space like you cannot friggin' believe, right? We have, the moon is colonized big time. All the other planets that are semi-habitable, big time. Big asteroids out there in the arc belt, that are like, these asteroids are like the size of, New York or Connecticut, and they got these caves and they just seal up one end and the other end and pump in an atmosphere, and there's 1 million people living there. And so there's a reality that's out there, like Elon Musk bought a tunneling apparatus from the U.S. Air Force, who had honeycombed all the West in, domes, deep underground military bases. And I tell the story about I went to, my niece was getting married in Boulder. And I drove, right? I came from North Carolina and went straight across on 40. And when I was in Kansas, I was zipping along and it was a beautiful day, blue sky, sunny. I'm looking around and Kansas is flat as a billiard table. And I look at this black thing in front of me and I kind of stop and pull over the side, get my little binoculars, a friggin' tornado, right? And then I'm not driving, so I'm looking around and there's a tornado over there. And then there's one over there. And then I look one behind me. I was surrounded by tornadoes, right? And I turn on the radio and it's just music, so no one's talking about the tornadoes, right? So I'm just zipping along and I decide, okay, I'm going to go the speed of the tornado. So I drove about 70 miles, at about, I don't know, maybe 10, 50 miles under the speed limit, which was, I think, 70, 75 out there. And we all kind of traveled, right? And so when I got out of the car and saw the tornado, when I got to where that was, it was in front of me, and not like real close, but I mean, it was like moving away. But where it was, it had just erased the concrete highway. I mean, I got a boom, 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 and then smooth again, right? And then blah, 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 it's like, holy mackerel. And so I'm going along, and it's starting to get, I don't like to drive it at night, never have, right? And so I'm driving and I see the signs for this town. It says, Holiday Inn, gasoline, restaurant, and a little town, right? So, okay. So I kind of zip in there and I kind of go into the gas station and, there's nobody there. There's nobody pumping gas, no trucks on the truck tank cover line. And I, basically go to the pump and, put the card in and fill my tank up. And then I go in the store and it's like nobody around. I mean, literally nobody there. But there's this whole thing of like, packaged, barbecued, rotisserie chickens and, sellers. And I get a few things. I go to the, there's nobody there. I could have walked out with this shit. I didn't. I think it came to close to $40, and I left them 220s, and stuck it on the cash register, and put the stapler on top of it, and wrote a little note. No one here. I just picked up a few things. Keep the change, right? And I went over to the hotel, and there was a guy at the desk. I said, I'd like a room. And he goes, so you from FEMA? And I said, no. I said, do you have any rooms? He goes, well, not really, but we have one. I said, oh, what one's that? He goes, well, we have the high-end suite upstairs. I said, does it have a jacuzzi? He goes, oh, yeah, it has a jacuzzi. It has a steam room, too. I said, oh, sign me. How much? He said, $75. And, this is like 1980 or no, it was 1980, 1983 or 4, right? $75, which is like maybe $200 today. Anyway. So I said, sure, here's my card. And he goes, well, I go, so why is the place so empty and what's going on? He goes, well, a tornado hit the town and obliterated it. I said, really? Yeah, he says, and anybody who, pretty much everybody belongs to, the fire department and, went to check, there's nobody here. I said, I was at the store and I put, I got a chicken and some sodas and some other stuff, and I put some money on the cash rate. She goes, oh, that's very nice. You didn't have to do that. There's nobody there. I said, yeah, but, And he goes, okay. So there's a restaurant, right? And you have room service, right? Because you're in the suite. It might take some time, but they are, the menu's there. Why don't you order something once you get up there? And I did. And so they had a pool, right? And so, and a gym. And so I kind of set myself up, had a nice refrigerator, stocked it up, had a bar, don't really drink. But the suite, there was no lock. It was, because it was a suite, I could drink whatever was there, right? And I actually had sodas too. So anyway, I go down to the pool, I'm floating around the pool, and then it's like a beehive. People are all, no one's coming to the pool, but they're all over the place. So I'm just kind of watching everything go. And people in uniforms and jumpsuits and just masses of people, right? And it's out in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. And the tornado had gone through the place. Like, I'd seen it, so like just a few hours before I showed up at this little town. And so within 8 hours, there were power trucks and, you name it, it was there, right? They're all over. And, the hotel is in that gas station and the gas station, when I'm up in my little suite and I step out on the little balcony, I see 2 big tanker trucks of gasoline pull to the gas station. And one pulls in the back and just parks, and the other one kind of tops off all the tanks and pulls around next to him, right? They were totally full, and so they filled all the tanks at the gas station and then parked. And this is like within 7 hours of the tornado, right? And then about, 30, 40 minutes of those gas pumps, the crowd showed up, right? And that's when I went down and just, I said, well, I better go down. These people are going to go up and down on the other. And I was on top floor. I could see everything. And I basically went in the pool and watched everything just explode with people and action and blah, 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 and Humvees and, tractor trailers and, a mobile hospital. I mean, it's like with less than 15 hours of the event, right? And I'm telling you this story because, here it is, a week and a half since Helene wiped this part of Appalachia out of existence, and there's nobody here. There's some FEMA people telling us not to do stuff. There's Red Cross people telling, but nobody helping, nobody. The only people who showed up with stuff was Salvation Army, and they've been doing a great job. They have been feeding between 300 and 1,000 people. The big day they had was 1,000 people. And so, and they were there, like, a storm happened Friday, Saturday, they were there Monday, right? Feeding people. So what can I say? But there's something afoot. Let's see, Morgan, can you confirm if FEMA is helping conflicting reports out here? No, there's nobody here. I mean, I'm here at this one location, right? I'm here in this because all the major highways are obliterated. 26, where Irwin is, gone. And it's not the only place. 26 is broken in about 3 or 4 places. 40 is broken about 4 places. 40 and 26 are major interstates for major commerce transportation, right? And I don't know if you kids know, but the our interstate system is run by the Defense Department. It's called, the Eisenhower the Eisenhower Military Highway System. That's what the interstate was, right? And so, 40 and 26 are broken, right? So and so I'm seeing, I came back, I went to the back, so I know all the back roads. So the major roads, which tractor trailers shouldn't be on, like 321, 421, 1925. These are all county roads, right? And some places they are, 3 lanes, some places 4 lanes, right? But they are basically county roads. They're not interstates, right? But tractor trailers been using them for the last few years as this area has expanded, right? Asheville, Boone, Lenore, Blowing Rock, places like that, which are all gone. I'm not all gone, but really severely. Go online and look at Boone, App State. The flooding, the rushing rivers, the videos are amazing. I mean, if I had I only have this one little handheld device to make the YouTube. I don't have my laptop, so I can't do what I normally do. It's like show you videos straight up, because I have no idea. The other people who have, these things, these YouTube or podcasts, they have staffs, they have crews, Just me here, your Sensie Owl Bob. I heard a National Guard is in Florida already. Did you see any? Yes, a little bit. And because we became the only hub in our neck of the woods that was doing anything and being productive and really helping people. Yeah, yesterday they were practicing landing their helicopters on our front lawn, just in case. So there's a place called Pogey so where we are in the accordion of Sawtooth Mountain Range between the Appalachian and the Blue Ridge Parkway. And so, back in the day when these mountains were formed, this area was like squeezed. And so this whole area is like this, mountains like that, right? Like where I live, there's 4 mountains around my house, right? That's why I picked it. It's like very, nuclear war, I won't get blasted away. Or anything. Tornadoes, like a long time ago, maybe 15 years ago, I was sitting on my porch with my dogs when I had dogs. And my mama dog looked at me, like, I looked over. And so there are these 4 mountains. So I can see between the mountains and I see right across, like coming from the west, this tornado, like right at us. And I'm like, oh, look at that. And she's looking at me, and Homer's like, hey, what's going on? And I go, well, there's no sense running or doing anything because where are we going to go? So we're just going to stay here. This is a good example of see what happens. And so the thing's coming right, like it's going to come right between those mountains, right? No, it's far away, but you can see it. It's coming. And normally you don't get tornadoes in a mountain range. But anyway, it's coming towards us, and it hits one of these mountains, and it just zips up into the air and goes over us, right? And we're looking up. I felt like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, I had, instead of just having Toto, I had Mama Dog and Homie. And, so that's where I'm at, right? And I'm not there because the roads are messed, right? For me to go from my friend's house where I'm at to my place, instead of taking, 15, 20 minutes, going 20 miles, you know, it takes an hour because I have to go all the way around, come back and come in, right? And so I decided to go to Boone and check because the what we're doing at our care center is humming like a machine, right? It's doing great. And we have the only people that outsiders who are helping our institutions is Salvation Army. We said thank you very much to everybody else and said forget about it. And people told us stop doing what we're doing. We just said thank you very much, get out. And so, and again, there's Bob Hope, me, and this other guy. We're good diplomats. We've been through something like this before, and the ladies are running everything. The grandmas are running everything. And we're not having meetings or any of that kind of stuff. Everything's pretty much on the fly. And everyone, a good portion of everyone, they see something needs to be done. They don't ask, should I do that? They just go and do it. And if someone who is like got the bigger picture, seeing them do it, and that's not right, they will, So, stuff like, when they were doing, basically I would let all the doors open and people said, oh, we can't, we have to worry about people stealing. And I said, no, we don't. Right? And then the top echelon of the grandma said, Al's right. Other things I said, well, maybe we should do this. And other people told me why we shouldn't do it that way. And it's, oh, well, that makes sense. No problem. So no one's fighting over their opinion that they're right. So it's really good. There are a few guys who are, I'm in charge and everyone basically ignores them, right? Except for Bob Hope. I gave him these really, I don't know if you saw me in the mirrored, sunglasses. But I gave him that and an Arge, construction hat. He looks really good in that. And he sticks out, so people go to him, right? And so he basically, distracts the people who shouldn't get involved, right? And then they go away. Me, I, talk to them logically until they fall asleep. And the other guy, he's, doing juggling tricks for the kids. So, but I'm the only one who kind of goes out to see, because everyone's so busy doing moving this, organizing that, me, I'm kind of beat up. I can't do, when we first started, and everything was dark and no electricity, somebody dropped off a generator. I went to the place, found some lights and some extension cords and lit the place up, right? And then I kind of backfed the whole school, through an extension cord into an outlet. I kicked off all the main breakers, and we had a little generator, and just for lights, we had no refrigerator, nothing. They worked great. So bingo bango, right? I do that kind of stuff, right? And then I went out and about to see, because Pogey got obliterated. 321 got washed out about 5 different places, so it stuck groups of people in places. Well, you can get to them, from the back roads, and the back roads, you can do that. So I kind of went on and around and stuff like that. And the guys who had big, who had 4x4s and side-by-sides, and me, I have this little soccer mom van, right? And it's, I'm not going to go out there, I'm not going to, I just bought this thing, that's it, So I kind of ran around in my soccer van, I saw a bunch of water and stuff so I could just drop some stuff off. So as the military goes, they're here in little bits. Let's see. Private helicopters pilots threatened with arrest. Yes, exactly. And they still did it, and until, so the military did come, right? And they basically helicopter, it's like a land grab. There's this area called Pogey that's beautiful, right? So, and it's not the Sawtooth Mountain Range. It's right before where this place called Banner Elk, where the mob bought everything and they dumped all the money. So they bought about 70% of that land, but the other 25% were people who had farms for like 9 generations, and they didn't need money. They owned their property and they didn't have any debt, no credit cards, no nothing. And so they said, screw you, and we're not selling. But what happened was with this thing, it took out, like no one can get into that area. And so the military, the federal government declared it as a, defunct, it's like an urban renewal. They would say that is urban blight. So they took all those families out of there. And then within a few days, someone greased somebody, and there was an auction on the county seat, and that property was sold to those corporations. So, it was like redlining, in cities when you redline an area, the banks leave, so the small businesses don't have any capital, and so they collapse, and then there's no restaurants, no stores, no bodegas, and that's all gone, and then there's no support, and the churches close, and then the bus lines, that's, urban blight, so they don't go there. And anyway, that's what, but it did it instead of taking 20 years, they did it in less than a week. Lithium deposits are in Florida. Yes, Florida has some of, what Florida has, that's going to be interesting. Florida has, the largest thing that Florida makes money on, not tourism, not vegetables, sand. Florida has the purest sand to manufacture semiconductors. And so with this hurricane, it's going to obliterate Florida. It's going to take out all the highways, all the transportation, you name it. So there's not going to be any semiconductor manufacturing anytime soon. I mean, there's stuff in the chain, but the pipeline, but relatively soon it's going to go bye-bye. And people are like starting to freak out. There are people buying tons of toilet paper. What are you, nuts? Use a leaf or a dish rag or something. Yep. Yes, Nashville has that whole area around Asheville has unbelievable mineral deposits. And not only that, but Blue Ridge Mountains has every cure to every disease. I have a really good teacher. His name is Two Trees. And he was one of the great herbalists. His daughter has picked up his mantle, and they are Cherokee and something else. And he was a great, great, great herbalist. And there are a lot of one of the reasons I bought this place. This whole area is full of grandma healers, right? And they're all dead. Yep. Asheville to Gaston County. Yep, exactly. So that's kind of what you're seeing. So they are the big splat. We're having the big turn, the new, we're heading towards, things don't just happen. FDR said, in politics, nothing just happens, right? It's pretty much scripted, right? Wars and conflicts and economic crashes, all that stuff, scripted, right? Because after the Great Depression, they put in all of these circuit breakers, glass, steel, all these laws to stop the things from happening. And Bill Clinton and Woodrow Wilson, both Democrats, probably the two worst, not worst, but criminal, did the most harm to our country than, and they're both Southerners. Not to say that Southern people, but see, these aren't Southerners like I know. They're the aristocrats, right? Obama too, yes. I put him in there, right? Because he was just, little Lord Fauntleroy. He's a demon. Well, I can say this. This is a energetic spiritual war. And that's what this is, right? And virtually every war is a energetic spiritual war. So the thing that you, observer, watcher of this show, is that do not get fearful. They eat fear, fear eaters, right? Do not get scared, right? Do not, get pushed around. And you don't have to be, and don't be violent, right? That's the number one thing. Just say no, you know? Good. You're not in any fear. So let's say a little prayer for us all here at this moment. Father, hear our prayer. Give us a good heart, good cheer. Let us be ready. Everyone, something happens, someone says smack to you, and you get upset, and then they take advantage, and then you're left all upset, right? And then you think, I wish I had said this, right? So when that nun murdered me, say everything that, people, oh, that's so bad, that's so horrible, blah, blah. I never talk about anything that negatively that's happened to me as like I'm handicapped, No, I'm kind of blind in this area. I can't hear this and I can't speak, right? Can't barely breathe. But by that being done to me by this crazy Nazi nun when I was in the first grade, she grabbed me by the neck, put me up against, I was a little peanut of a kid, and just went bam and broke this side of my head, right? And so, she smushed my skull like a melon, And I woke up in a hospital like my head was all wrapped, in a cast, and I couldn't see anything. I had 2 straws in my nose. And I had a feeding tube, which was kind of uncomfortable. Anyway, on the other side of that, my guardian angel, Dr. Black, she came and got me out of that place. They probably would have given me a frontal lobotomy, and I'd rather have a bottle in front of me. And she took me to, Cardinal Cushing in St. Patrick's on Fifth Avenue. And he had his own little hospital in that place. I mean, that is, St. Patrick isn't just the cathedral. You see, it's a monolith of an underground. It's got stuff all over the place. It's unbelievable. But anyway, she nursed me back, and then he dropped me off with the Marinols in Garden City, where I was like the $10 million kid, They had people there, audiologists, for my hearing, speech therapists, people, doctors who dealt with my larynx. And so they rejiggered me, right? And one of the things, and I had a really, after, you talk about trauma, I had a serious stutter, and I still do. But I was trained, they taught me all these great things, like Evelyn Wood speed reading course, mind, Sylvan mind control, of your own mind, not letting, someone control your mind. And they also showed me this process where about knowing you're 20, being in the moment, and seeing your 360, meaning seeing 4 blocks down. So you see the moron coming at you. So you think, what am I going to do? Most times, best just to go the other way, right? Not to be there when they show up. So I basically learned to figure out what I wanted to say and script it, right? And put it on the tape. And then when it's time for me to say something, like when I'm talking to you guys, I just hit play, right? And it just comes out just the way I want it. And so I'm not stuttering, right? A stutter comes from the anxiety of not knowing what you're going to say. Now I can barely, you can hear that my voice is a little strange, right? But I have to breathe in a different way to use my larynx that were kind of crushed, right? So, and I don't know if you ever notice presenters on radio and TV. You always hear them take a big breath in so they can just play the whole thing up because they do the same thing. They actually have the teleprompter or the script in front of that they're reading. Me, I write it in here. And this little Evelyn Wood speed reading course also has other little things like the Mind Castle, where you can remember everything. because it's all in this big castle. There's all these rooms. Each room has, all these dresser drawers, and you place the item there, and then you go, oh, that's where, I remember, that's where it is. And we have a little monologue, meaning that's like a little saying. So if I displace anything in thought or physically, like where did I put my keys, I say, Tony, come around, something's lost, got to be found. So our little, what we're doing in our Sharing Care Community Center is working great, right? It's a great example, and that's my job. Talk to everyone who's working, saying, you're doing a great job. How you feeling? You okay? Oh, your back feeling? Here, let me just rub that for you. Okay. You want to talk about anything? You don't have to work. You can take a moment. We can go have a cup of tea, get a glass of water, So we have more than enough water, right? We didn't have water for a couple of days because they gave us a key, and then they turned off the electricity and shut off the water, right? And then 4 days later, we got the key, and then this event happens. We go in there, there's no light. My friend had a generator. Like I said, I first strung out some Christmas lights so no one would kill themselves. And then I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this. And I, ran one cord to a good outlet, took these cords and made a male jumper, plugged it in the extension cord, plugged it into an outlet. Bingo, the whole building lit up, right? I turned off all of the, the mains so we weren't back feeding into the system, and, turned off all the, 220 lines. So, but just, outlets and, right? And this guy showed up, and he had Starlink, right? So he put it in and got us, by Monday, we had phones where nobody had cell or phones. We did. And so we set up charging stations so people could come and charge their devices and use the internet and call people. And we were the only ones, right? The county, state, nobody had that. They were down. We had it like Monday, right? And this guy was like Superman. And he has 11-year-old son. And it was like probably the greatest experience of that kid's life, because the emergency management guy, this guy was driving around in a car. They gave him, a fire, not a fire truck, but an emergency vehicle, right? Are you still on Starlink? Yep. And see, that's part of the thing. There's an X-flare that's heading our way, right? A big one. And it's not going to glance us. It's going to whack us big time in a day or so, right? So I would expect, where I'm at. So the other great thing that our county did was more than our county, but our utility did, was when Helene came to Florida, they sent 60% of our utility trucks and men to Florida about a week before the hurricane. And they're still there. They didn't bring them back. But there were a lot of people in Kentucky and the western part of Tennessee that grew up here that were linemen, and they told their, hey, I'm taking a truck, to make sure my grandma has electricity. And those guys kind of came from this neck of the wood too. So I said, okay, I'll look the other way. And so when I went I know the utility guys, and I went to that guy, and I said, where are the trucks? I said, we sent them to Florida. I said, what? Call them back. Oh, we can't until the end of October. What? I said, how many trucks you got? Well, we have 40%. So put them out. I said, well, we got to keep 11% in the barn. That's a rule. Just in case. Just in case of emergency. What do you call this? Anyway, every time we had this we were having this conversation. Every time I say something, he kind of goes like this because he knows he's saying something stupid, but it's what's in the book, right? So what was really nice was that when these guys showed up, the other guy said, okay, they're like doing what we're doing there, so I'm going to open the barn to those guys. So we actually got that our system 90% up by Wednesday. By Wednesday, the main lines were done, right? And then they went out and did the what are called one lines or farmer lines. And they probably got about 80% of that. And the other 20% of people, like maybe out of the maybe 80,000 people that are in our utilities service thing, they probably have 800 people who don't have power because there's no roads. There's no way to put the poles in and the wire to the people. So we've gotten those people out. Those are the people up in Pogey and places like that. So, but pretty much everyone got electricity back by Wednesday because A, those guys came. B, I kind of said, oh, because they didn't know really what to do, right? And they went to where their families were and saw that the main lines were out. And this one guy said to me, and he came from even further away, and he said, why is all this fiber on these poles? And I said, don't get me started. And he goes, what happened? And I said, no, the fiber's made out of Kelvar. The tree hit it. The power line snapped like they're supposed to, but the Kelvar fiber optic lines, instead of taking down one pole, took down 20 because it didn't snap, didn't break, right? And when they tried to cut it out, even with not a chainsaw, but one of those saws that cut through steel, they couldn't get through the cables. They just put new poles up and didn't string. They just left the wire on the side of the road, right? So anyway, I because by Tuesday, I had done everything I could do other than talk to people and say, how you feeling? How you doing? Let me rub your back. And so I was going around and seeing where people were and what was going on and where we needed to move resources, right? So I was the outside guy because a lot of people know me and I can talk to anybody and I can defuse. And I mean, I bumped into a lot of people who were traumatized. They just want to kill people, right? And I said, whoa, you don't want to do that. Let's talk. Here, have some water, right? Mm-hmm. Have a little of this, have a little of that. Okay, feel better? Okay. So we're doing pretty good, I mean, place is obliterated, but we're doing pretty good, right? Everyone's got electricity. Everyone's got water that can have it. We found end runs, but the county didn't do any of this. The state didn't do any of this. FEMA didn't do any of this. Now, the Army has the helicopters, and over near the Tri-City Airport, there's another little kind of airport that they've taken over. Oh, look over there, psychology. Yeah, exactly. So we're doing good, right? And what the best thing about this is empowering everyone here in this neck of the woods to help each other, not to expect anything from the authorities. And if they show up, tell them to just, no, get the fuck out of here. Unless you're going to help, leave. Don't tell us what to do. Don't, take over. Leave, right? And so they do, because no one does it with violence, right? And the police are very, very supportive of what we're doing. And so is the Army. What little army is here, they are like, what can we do for you, right? And they, so they did bring, we're going to have to start, it's going to get cold. And we do have some areas where we can house people. And I'm trying to get people to think of that. And the Army came and said, what do you need that you don't have? And I said, you know what? Do you guys have portable, showers? Oh, yeah, we got those, so they brought us. We set up and they hooked up to our water and our power. And they actually use solar power to heat water. Imagine that. So they did that. We have 12 nice showers, right? 6 girl showers, 4 6 boy showers, and so it's all working out nice. And Molly. So it's about an hour. Let's see, it's 11 o'clock. There's another section I want to go take a look at, but I haven't been able, because of the limitations of my technology. And my little phone that worked as a phone, they actually gave me an iPhone because my earphone sucks. It barely works. It's, you have to, they saw me trying to charge it, and I had to like hang it upside down so the wire would push. And this guy said, "Here, Mr. Starlink." He gave me an iPhone, which was kind of nice, right? And then kind of just and changed everything into my phone. And so I actually went to whatchamacallit, and he did okay job, but it didn't. I didn't understand how it worked, and he's in such a rush. He just went, how IT guys are. Here. So I took a little journey 2 days ago into Boone and Lenore and that whole neck of the woods. And it's certain sections, like I said, if you go on YouTube and look at App State, because that flood just went right through it, and went through all the buildings, and like the water's going in one side of the building and shooting out like a fire hose in the other, and the kids, this is kids, they are letting themselves be sucked into a building and shot out the other side. It was like the most bizarre thing to watch. So let's see. 54. So, I got about 10, 15 minutes left of this. So let's have a nice chat. Any questions? There's 5 of you there. Any questions? Any thoughts you want to bring up? Because you brought up some really great stuff Jamie gave. Has anyone know Cliff Hyde or seen any of his stuff? People on the internet are just coming out with all of the information, and I'm not a big, I subscribe to the George Carlin school of politics, meaning, don't vote, don't any of that because it's useless. And there's some real chuckleheads who, and there's one guy who is always right and always kind of does the wrong thing. He always, gets in, moves a car someplace where people, we all keep our keys in the car, so if a vehicle needs, and this guy just moves the cars around like, oh, I know what I'm doing. It needs to be over here. And he started burning stuff. People said, we need to get rid of this kind of crap because it's like the food. I eat dated food. They're burning food that people are giving us. So it says eat before 2019. There's so many preservatives, and it's a cookie. It's not going to rot. It's hermetically sealed. So anyway, he started burning that stuff, and it went up like a bonfire. It's like, oh look, they're making cookies out of gasoline now. Who knew? So so that's the kind of people you got to watch out for, right? But anyway, he was going on about this, that, or the other thing because he knows, and he goes, I said, why are you voting? It's a scam. It's 2 wings of the same corporate bird. Oh no, Donald Trump. I said, I want Donald Trump to win because of the 2 knuckleheads. He will at least take a sledgehammer to shit. That's what he did. He will. The beauty of Donald Trump is he's going to do exactly what he says he's going to do. He may not get it all done, but he's going to, and he's such a good, So if I was going to vote, I would. And now that, JFK and Tulsi Gabbard has joined his team, they're 2 good people, or kind of good people, who will bring some thoughtfulness to him instead of ideological crap like that bald guy who looks like a demon. It's one of the, have any you guys read the 2025 thing? It's, it's interesting, They're going to destroy everything, which maybe that's, maybe this is what we need. because from my experience so far in this area, it has woken, not woke, woke is just a different form of being asleep. To be awake and conscious of your connectivity to God's unconditional love, that's where it should be. New release on JFK about Hunt. Enumerate there, Jane. Who is Hunt? Hunter Biden. Huh. What's E? Jane, you got to be, I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. E. Howard Hunt. Okay, see, yes, E. Howard Hunt. Okay. There you go. Right. About the JFK assassination, about the whole, see, you give me the whole question, I can give you an answer. So what that's talking about is COG, continuation of government. Why is Dick Cheney a Republican backing the girl? Because they're all, it's like I said, two wings of the same bird. It's a corporate entity called COG, continuation of government. All the guys underground, all the guys in the dumbs, all of that. The movie Dr. Strangelove and How I Learned to Love the Bomb, that's all about what's going on right now. That's one reason why after he made that movie, they wanted to put the skids on him, but he didn't care. He just, made the next movie and the next movie. And they're all such amazing movies, And I think he might have been whacked, right? So, who knows? So, Jane, what about Howard Hunt? I just gave you a thumbnail it's about wars. E. Howard Hunt was a CIA guy, a deep state guy, a person who really knows this really well and gathers people who know even more is dark journalist. He has we all have our own foibles, right? And you hear me when I get to a word that I'm just about to stutter, I kind of whistle, right? That was a little trick I was taught. So anyway, Jane, give us some information about E. Howard Hunt. Come on, Jane. Well, come on, Jane. Or anybody else? Anybody else got some stuff to add? Because if not, I'm gonna go. It's getting cold. I have to go put some real clothes on. I'm gonna take a nice hot shower before I go out and about. So, anyway, anything? Nothing? No? Yes? Maybe? Do 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 do. Okay. No one's got anything to say. At least, Jane, tell us what the new release JFK had on Hunt. Release on JFK about Hunt. Yes, he was one of the guys who, did you ever see Chris Carter's X-Files? The smoking man, right, was E. Howard Hunt, right? And Deep Throat, right? That guy, he was, again, the Deep Throat person was Colonel Ollie North, I think. He was part of COG. Anyway, like Mike Flynn. Mike Flynn is part. I mean, they're all in some weird ass cabal. So that's why I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. And little did I know that coming out to middle nowhere where I thought no one would come, I'm in the middle of it again. They pulled me back in. Right. So anyway, and guys, AI, I know you're watching. I love you, buddy. And I'm always there for you. And if you guys need me to be, the doctor, I'm, as long as I'm here to do something good. Oh, look, everyone left. So I'm going to go too. I hope you like this one. Get a hold of me at the dudeawake42 at Gmail. And what else? That's about it. It's going to take a month or so for me to sort out all of my devices, because I haven't figured out how to use that brand spanking new thing. And this thing has got its limitations, and my laptop is being cleaned out. I no one told me that I'm not supposed to use my laptop as a dining room table. Howard Hunt and the JFK unveiled in this video. We dive deep into the intriguing connections between E. Howard Hunt and JFK years, exploring this into history's greatest conspiracy, or one of them. I mean, there's so many world-smashing conspiracy. Every war is started by conspiracy. So, okay, thank you, Jane. That was good. Might be nice to tell us where we can go see this video. We dive deep into intriguing connections. What video is that? Did you make the video? If you did, good on you, girl. No, nobody's watching. I know I'm going to go too.